Democratic Senator Mark Warner in our center seat tonight. Senator, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Brett.
Why are you doing this? Why do you think it's necessary to do this, despite what the White House is now saying, an urgent plea not to do it?
Well, we've filed the legislation, and it won't be taken up until after the break. We've seen Iran that the only thing that keeps them negotiating is to keep the pressure on. And this legislation doesn't kick in any additional sanctions until after the 6 months the administration has requested. It allows the president to grant an exemption. And the notion of simply waiting and not keeping the pressure on, I think we've seen time and again, does not force this regime to negotiate in good faith.
So the pushback from the White House, they've said some strong things today, both on the record and behind the scenes, doesn't persuade you not to do it.
I think that this is a unique opportunity, and I give Secretary Kerry and the negotiating team credit for moving forward. I think actually keeping this pressure on helps strengthen his hand. Let's face it, if the Iranians are looking for an excuse to get out of negotiating, they can find that. Matter of fact, in the last few weeks, they've not even been back to the table. So we think this is the right action to take, and I think it will actually strengthen our hand.
Charles.
Do you think the Senate leader, Harry Reid, will allow this to come to a vote?
I'm not sure. I think what we wanted to do was put this statement down, show that it is clearly I think if it got to the vote, I think it would be successful. The fact that the Senate believes that the only reason any progress has been made, even in terms of the first step, is because of the toughness of the sanctions. And we've seen the Iranian currency fall. We've seen the Iranian economy in tatters. We think we need to keep that up. Now, clearly, none of this will kick in for 6 months. So if there's an ability to get to that second stage of an agreement, have at it. But this is not a regime that we should trust on any sense.
The White House has pushed back really hard on this. Have you felt any personal heat from the White House? Do you think it's right for Democrats to intervene in the negotiations of a president, particularly of their own party, as they are arguing that you're sort of getting
We have heard from the administration repeatedly that we should not add additional sanctions at various times. And each time that additional sanctions have been added, they've actually strengthened our hand. And
so why don't they see it that way?
Well, I think I think this is a delicate balance. We've got other negotiating partners in terms of P5+1 that, and we don't want to give Russia, China, or anyone else an excuse to leave the negotiations just before we get to that hopefully second step. And that is part of the balance. I thought long and hard before joining this effort, but nothing about the Iranian regime has, to my mind, warrants trust.
A.B.?
If you look back at the debate, which was an extremely dramatic moment in September before the government was shut down over Syria, and a vote that never took place in the Congress, do you believe that deeper, more committed and frequent consultation with the Congress, both with regards to Syria and all of our conflicts, but now with Iran, would have helped the administration succeed in a deal like this?
Listen, I think that as somebody who has been an executive longer than a legislator, former governor, I think legislators always want to see more consultation, more conversation. Whether it would have, the situation in Syria was very fluid. We have got to acknowledge, though, the goal of getting rid of the chemical weapons is actually taking place.
And you're confident that there's that there's no holes in that agreement? They're not incoming chemical weapons to Syria?
I am not 100% confident, no. But I also know that versus the alternative, which could have led to enormous repercussions, Lord knows which way, the fact that there was actually an agreement that weapons are being removed, I believe is a step.
Is there any way the administration could have consulted more with the people who were supporting new increased sanctions and avoided this kind of standoff that we're seeing?
Second guessing months later on serious. Listen, that's your job. That's not my job is to try to actually find ways to get to yes on.
Let's turn to one of the judge's favorite topics here.
Senator, there are none.